Mindset, a daily dose of practical wit and wisdom with a professional educator and trainer, Amazon best-selling author, United States Marine, television and radio host, Paul G. Markel. Each episode will focus on positive and productive ways to strengthen your mindset and help you improve your relationships, career goals, and overall well-being. Please welcome your host, Paul G. Markel.
Hello, welcome back. Yes, it is I, Paul Markel, one more time for Morning Mindset. Thanks again for being with me. I have a confession to make. Yes, I was out walking around in God's great earth. I was walking around with a rifle in my hand out in the field last week, and I was trying to come up with some ideas for this current week. And I did. Yes, I did. I got out there and I got all that sunshine on my face and the fresh air in my lungs, and it was quiet and there were no distractions. And I had some time to think and put some notes into a book. And I was thinking about hunting, experience from hunting. Now, those of you who don't hunt or never have hunted, this may be a little bit of a stretch for you, but bear with me. If you've ever seen, and I know you have, even just in the movies or TV shows, huge trophy mounts, whether they're full-body taxidermy mounts in someone's den, or you go to a lodge, or you go somewhere and there's like a huge bear or a record-setting elk or a deer or moose or whatever, and you see that and you think, man. Now, if you're a hunter yourself, you may be thinking, dude, I wish I could. I'd never even seen an animal that glorious, much less harvested one. You know how people get those big animals? Now, sometimes people get lucky. Every once in a while, someone will just, experience some dumb luck. But most of the time, and if you've ever hunted, you know this, most of the time, hunting is not just walking out into the field and 15 minutes later seeing an amazing trophy buck or, antelope or elk or whatever. Most of the time, you spend far more hours of the day and days of the week walking around in stands or in blinds or whatever, looking before you actually find it. You really, if you want success, especially as a hunter, that's a hard thing today about convincing kids to get involved in hunting, because our kids are so used to an instant gratification world. They're very, very used to having whatever they want, whenever they want, immediately. They don't have to wait. You don't have to wait for answers to questions. If you have a question and you have a phone, you can get it right now. If you need to communicate with someone, you send them a text, and you don't get a text back from them in 5 minutes, you're like, what the heck? No one has to wait for anything, whether it's food or communications or anything they want in their lives. It's instantaneous. We have 24-hour Walmarts and 24-hour fast food joints, and you never have to wait. So you really, in your life, don't have to put in a whole lot of time to wait for something. But in hunting, you have to put the time in. If you expect to be successful, you got to put in the time. Too often, we expect overnight successes and instant results. You or others may see successful people and think that they're lucky. You see someone who is successful in their career, whatever it may be, music, television, radio, whatever field of endeavor that you're in, you look at that person and you see that they're a success, and you look at them from the outside and you're like, man, that guy is so lucky. That woman is so lucky that they've achieved all that success. But what you don't see, and what you didn't see, was all the time that person put in before you ever even noticed him. Before you ever noticed that person was successful, they were putting the time in. They were doing the hard work. They were trudging up, and like in the hunting thing, they were trudging up and down hills, crossing streams. They were cold and freezing and shivering, and finally they achieved success. I like to hear the stories of successful bands, successful rock and roll bands and musicians and so forth. I like to hear the behind the scenes stories when these guys and gals, when they were, sleeping in their vans, or when they were all sharing one, a flat apartment or studio apartment, and there was 4 or 5 people sharing one bathroom because they didn't have no money, but they had a lot of passion. They had passion and desire and a little bit of talent, and they wanted to, achieve. Many of the bands that you see today, or the successful people that you see today, you see them and you're like, oh man, I can't even imagine what it's like to be them. They're so popular and they're so successful. And it seems to you that they got that way overnight, instantly. But did they really? Or did they put the time in? And we talked several episodes ago about Dave Grohl and how Dave Grohl really he hates American Idol and America's Got Talent and all of these shows, because one of the things they do is they remove the concept or the idea from the youth of America that in order to be a successful musician, to succeed in your career field, that you got to put the time in. With the American Idol and Dancing with the Stars, whatever, you know what I'm talking about, the American Idol and the talent and the voice and the this and the that, what they do is they put forward the notion that if you're lucky enough to get one of those judges to notice you, if you're lucky enough to get chosen, you can become an instant success. The vast majority of the people that you encounter or that you witness or that you see, you look at that person and you say, man, that person is successful. You say, I wish I could achieve all that person has achieved. What you don't see is all the time that they put in before you ever noticed them. I've got a good friend who has a very successful training business, and people see it and they're like, man, you're so lucky, you're so this, you're so that. And he said to him, yeah, he goes, it only took me 20 years to become an overnight success. Yeah, you look at me now and you think, man, you're successful. What you didn't see was all the time that I put in before you ever even noticed me. So my advice to you is, if you really want to be successful, whether it's hunting or whether it's in your business, whether it's in music or art or whatever, if you really want to be successful, you got to understand that you have to put the time in. You have to do the hard work. You have to do the stuff that nobody wants to do in order to achieve success. So the next time you get frustrated, the next time you might think, I'm not as far as I want to be, or I should be farther by now, or what have you, take a moment to realize that people that have true, lasting success, those are people that put the time in. And maybe you're in that position in your life right now that it's time to put in the time. It's like house training a puppy. We have a puppy in our life now, if you guys didn't know that yet. We have a puppy in our lives, and we want to have a lovable dog who listens to commands. But if you're going to train a puppy, what do you have to do? You got to put the time in, right? So if you want to achieve, this may be that time in your life when it's time to put it in. It's time to do the hard work. Yes, indeed. All right, that's it for today. Thank you once again for joining me. I am your host, Paul Markel, and I'll talk to you again real soon.
Thank you for spending time with us today. To get show notes, submit a topic request, and for more from your host, Paul G. Markel, visit morningmindsetpodcast.com. That's morningmindsetpodcast.com. Please leave a review for this podcast on your favorite podcast player. We appreciate your time and effort, and we look forward to reading your honest feedback.